Hi, in this video, I'll go over some of the issues that I've had with the video editing PC that I completed the build on in January. Uh, you're going to have problems with any PC, some issues that um, are typical, and that's true whether you build one or you buy it. From a pre-built, you're going to have some problems. But when you build, you'll tend to have a few more issues that you wouldn't see with a pre-built because they try to work out as many of those problems before they ship it to you to reduce their support costs. In any case, after building the PC, I had it on the table where I was, where I built it for about a week, working things out, installing software, getting it up and running. And then after about a week, I moved it to its current location in the office where it is now. And immediately after that, I began getting this. The first problem I got was this pretty horrendous mouse lag. I would move the mouse, and the mouse pointer wouldn't move on the screen, and then a few seconds later, it would jump. Not very useful, right? So I'd move the mouse again. Seconds later, it would move. It was just not usable. So I have some other PCs, laptops, and so I did some searching on it. And sadly, there's hundreds of websites that have reference to this, mouse lag issue. Hundreds of websites with hundreds of recommendations, and that's bad enough. How do you try 100 different things? But in virtually all of these posts, you'll see comments at the bottom that say, nope, didn't work for me, nope, didn't work for me. So what are you supposed to do? Try 100 things that aren't going to work? So I kind of got a tip through researching this that possibly this is a USB 3.0 interference issue, noise interference issue. So I did some searching on USB 3.0 noise interference, and I came upon a page from Asus, and my motherboard is from Asus, so I thought it's worth a shot. So I go there, and it suggested moving the mouse keyboard Wi-Fi dongle closer to the keyboard and mouse, which was interesting. At the time, I had the Wi-Fi dongle, the little thing that you plug into a USB port that does the actual communications between the mouse and keyboard and the PC. And that had been plugged into a USB port at the back of the PC. So what I did was I unplugged it from there and plugged it into a USB port that's built into my monitor, my display, and that's connected to the PC as well. So I did that, and bang, problem gone. It didn't reduce the problem, it eliminated it. So whether or not it was in fact a USB 3.0 noise or interference issue, I'm not sure, but it's certainly a possibility, and it kind of looks like maybe it was. In any case, the simple move of the Wi-Fi dongle from the back of the PC to the USB port on the monitor, which is about 3 feet closer, 2.5 feet closer to the mouse and keyboard than the back of the PC, solved the problem, eliminated it. Haven't had the problem since. So that worked. The next issue I had was a kind of a strange Windows File Explorer problem. I would click on a folder on my desktop because there were some files in there I wanted to look at. But when I would click on the folder, which I had on the desktop, the screen would kind of flash for a second, and then the folder wouldn't open. So I tried it again, and it didn't work. I then went down into the tray at the bottom of the screen and clicked on the Windows File Explorer file icon, the folder icon for that. And the same thing, the screen kind of flashed, but Windows Explorer didn't open up. So I did a power off on the PC, powered it back on, hoping that that would take care of it, but no such luck. So once again, go onto the internet, start searching for that, and one of the references mentioned Windows 10 display scaling, which kind of rung a bell because the very day before I had been playing with the Windows display scaling. The display that I have or had was a 24-inch 4K display, and 4K on a 24-inch display, text and icons and some other things tend to be kind of small. So I had the scaling at 200%, and I moved it down to 175%, and it seemed to work fine. But when I powered the PC up the next day and went to the folder on the desktop, that's when I got that screen flash issue. So and the folder didn't open. So I thought, okay, let me put it back to 200 and see what happens. And once again, problem gone. Problem gone. So hard to believe that in this day and age, Microsoft is still clueless about display scaling. I mean, Windows 10 still clueless about display scaling. Next issue I had was an issue on power on of the PC. I noticed that if I removed power to the PC after I shut the PC down, you do a Windows shutdown from the desktop, PC shuts down. If I then remove power to the PC by turning off the power strip so that power wasn't being applied to the plug of the PC, then when I went to power it back on the next time, I would turn the power strip on, then press the power button on the PC. PC would come on and then shut off a few seconds later, then come back on again. So I tried that several times, and it continued to do that. And the only way to avoid having that kind of stutter step in the power on sequence was to not remove power to the power supply in the PC when it shut down. So basically the solution, it's not really a fix, but the solution that I've used is to not turn off the power to the power supply. So I do a shutdown from the desktop, which basically shuts the PC down, but you still have power going to the power supply. And for whatever reason, that eliminates that problem. So not a solution, but kind of. The next issue that I had is with the ATEC flash reader that I installed when I built it. Recall that the ATEC flash reader is a component that is installed in one of the 5 1/4 inch slots at the front of the PC, and its function is to provide an interface to plug in an SD or micro SD card or USB 3.0 plugs into this interface. So I didn't test it out right away, but a week or so later when I tested it out, the flash card reader, SD card, micro SD card, worked fine, but none of the USB 3.0 ports worked. None of them. So no real solution there, and what I've decided to do is remove the card reader entirely, and when I do my update or modification to the PC, which is another video that I'm working on, I'll be removing that and replacing it with a G-Lid fan controller. But that's another issue. In any case, I didn't get a solution to fix that. It's the USB 3.0 ports do not work on it. So I will be removing that. Fortunately, I have on top of my case, which came with the case, 4 USB ports. 2 of them USB 2.0, 2 of them USB 3.0. So I have plugs I can plug into for USB devices that I need to plug into it. Additionally, my monitor, my new monitor, which is a BenQ 32-inch 4K display, has on the side of it 2 USB 3.0 ports and a SD card reader. So I get the card reader functionality that I need, and I have more than enough USB ports without having to have the ATEC flash reader installed. So that's going to be removed. The next thing I had, which is actually really the first problem I had after I built the PC, is a slow boot. It takes, or was taking, upwards of a minute, and sometimes a bit more than that, to go from turning power on to the point where I was able to actually use it. A minute. Now, I have Windows 10 on some laptops that typically boot in about 20 seconds. So, you know, and my boot drive on this video editing PC isn't a slouch. We're not talking a hard drive. We're not even talking a SATA-based SSD. This is a PCIe M.2 SSD, which is more than 4 times faster than the fastest SATA SSDs. So, if an SSD should be faster boot than a hard drive, then a PCIe SSD should be faster boot than a regular SATA-based SSD. So taking 60 seconds, it was frustrating. So one of the things I did is by unplugging the USB cables for the ATEC flash reader, which again I'm going to be removing, BIOS doesn't see as many hard drives because the flash reader for in the ATEC flash reader has basically hard drives associated with the flash card readers, like 4 or 5 of them. So removing the plug for that reduced boot time, and with some other tweaks, it's down to about 40 seconds. Still not great, but you know, I can live with it. The next issue I had, which initially didn't seem like it was an issue with the video editing PC, was a Samsung T1 external SSD drive that I use for field storage of video and images when I'm out in the field taking video or pictures. Normally, my kit in the field, in addition to the cameras, is a box with like 4 or 5 external hard drives, the 2.5-inch base hard drives, 2 terabytes each. And I have basically 2 or 3 redundant image drives and 2 or 3 redundant video drives. So I copy the video from the SD card or micro SD card for the video onto the external hard drive, and then I make another copy of it onto another hard drive, so I have redundancy. But hard drives, you know, even fast hard drives tend to be a little on the slow side. So I thought, let me get this T1, Samsung T1, which is a USB 3.0 SSD, and it's supposed to be, you know, upwards of like 300 megabytes per second or better, and that should reduce the time to do that. And so I got that unit, plugged it into a USB port on my video editing PC, and I figured I'd do a quick test copying a file from one of my hard drives or one of the SSD from the editing PC onto this T1 hard drive. So I started the transfer, and initially the speed was indicated as like 175 megabytes per second. But right away the speed dropped off, and then after a few seconds the transfer froze, and so did the PC. Not even a Control or Delete would unfreeze the PC. I basically had to press and hold the power button on the PC to reset it. So then I tried changing the file system from exFAT to NTFS. Tried it again, still no luck. And I'm able to communicate with it. Again, I was able to format it from exFAT to NTFS, but that didn't change the fact that when I started the transfer, it would lock up. So I then took the T1, and I'm thinking, I'm going to have to ship this thing back, so, get the RMA, that kind of nonsense going. But I figured, let me try it in one of my laptops first, see what happens. So I did. I tried it in the laptop, and it worked fine. There was no problem. The T1 worked fine in my laptop. So, brought it back to the video editing PC, plugged it into the USB port. Same problem. Wouldn't work at all. So then I thought, all right, I've been plugging it into the USB hub that's came with the Thermaltake case. So on top of the Thermaltake case, you've got the two USB 2.0 and two USB 3.0 ports, and that connects to the motherboard via USB 3 cables. So that's where I had been plugging it in, and that's where I was getting a problem. So I thought, let me try plugging the T1 into a USB 3.0 port at the back of the PC, basically that plugs directly into the motherboard. And as soon as I did that, it worked just fine. So the same PC using the USB 3.0, the back of the PC it worked fine, but the case-mounted USB didn't work, locked up. Interestingly, if I plug an external hard drive, one of my external hard drives, into the same USB ports on top of the PC that I was having problems with it on the T1, I had no problems with an external hard drive. So, for now, I plug it into the back of the PC when I need to use it. Once again, it's an oddness related to USB 3.0. So, the next issue, browser sluggishness. I noticed I was getting this problem using Chrome, where like in YouTube I would click on a video and the video would start playing and then it would just kind of freeze, and then Chrome would kind of freeze. It would just kind of hang. So this kind of went on for a few days. I was basically doing power cycling of my cable modem and router, and that seemed like maybe it helped a little bit, but it pretty much shortly thereafter would lock up again. So, I wasn't sure what was going on. And then I brought up the task manager and went to the Wi-Fi tab, the connection tab for Wi-Fi, and was looking at that as I was trying to do a video play on YouTube, and I noticed that the connection speed was jumping all over the place. So, not knowing what the deal was, I went to the Wi-Fi antenna on my video editing PC, and it's one of those external ones connected with a cable to the motherboard. It's from Asus, so it's part of the motherboard kit. And I took that and I simply moved it from towards the back of the PC towards the front of the PC. Still on top of it, but just moved it a foot. Problem gone. Problem gone. So very clearly there was an issue with some kind of interference issue by having the antenna further back. The communication was erratic or non-existent, and it manifested itself with like freezing issues in Chrome. So it's kind of weird sometimes, the kind of the chain of events that can get you to some weird issues. But again, simply moving the antenna from towards the back of the PC towards the front of the PC, suspect that it is being interfered with by the USB 3.0 once again. So again, I'm not certain on that. I'd probably need some sort of radio frequency spectrum analyzer or something to look for it. But it does kind of seem like the USB 3.0 ports, or the subsystem for USB 3.0, is a noisy beast that caused problems with the mouse communications. it caused problems with this Chrome freezing, and one other problem as well. So the T1 the communications or file transfer with the external SSD. So it's surprising to me that in this day and age, the FCC would permit a noisy beast like this to go out the door with and get its blessing. So anyway, that's the issues that I've had so far. And a number of smaller issues of no particular significance, as we all typically have. So those are the major issues, and most of them I've kind of resolved. A couple of them are kind of workarounds, and that's going to be typical for you if you have if you build a PC, or even if you buy one. You're likely to have some problems. Maybe not the same mix of problems, but if you're using USB 3.0, you might well have some of the issues that I've just discussed. So seeing the problems that I've had and how I've worked around them hopefully will be some assistance to you. At least I hope it is. Thanks for watching the video.